We're Max Fisher and Amanda Taub, writers for the New York Times. We investigated how YouTube's algorithm, which is built to keep you hooked, can also spread extremism and conspiracies. Ask us anything. This week's episode of The Times' new TV show The Weekly, we investigate how YouTube spread extremism and conspiracies in Brazil, and explore the research showing how the platform's recommendation features helped boost right-wing political candidates into the mainstream, including a marginal lawmaker who rose to become president of Brazil. YouTube is the most watched video platform in human history. Its algorithm-driven recommendation system played a role in driving some Brazilians toward far-right candidates and electing their new president, Jair Bolsonaro. Since taking office in January, he and his followers governed Brazil via YouTube, using the trolling and provocative tactics they honed during their campaigns to mobilize users in a kind of never-ending us versus them campaign. You can find the episode link and our takeaways here and read our full investigation into how YouTube radicalized Brazil and disrupted daily life. We reported in June that YouTube's automated recommendation system had linked together a vast video catalog of prepubescent, partly clothed children, directing hundreds of thousands of views to what a team of researchers called one of the largest child sexual exploitation networks they'd seen. We write The Interpreter, a column and newsletter that explore the ideas and context behind major world events. We're based in London for the New York Times. Twitter, @Max_Fisher, @Amanda Taub. Edit, thank you for all of your questions. Our hour is up, so we're signing off. But we had a blast answering your questions. Thank you. How do you investigate an algorithm without access to the source code that defines it? Do you treat it like a black box and measure inputs and outputs? How do you know your analysis is comprehensive? That's exactly right. The good news is that the inputs and outputs all happen in public view, so it's pretty easy to gather enormous amounts of data on them. That allows you to make inferences about how the black box is operating, but, just as important, it lets you see clearly what the black box is doing rather than just how or why it's doing it. The way that the Harvard researchers ran this was really impressive and kind of cool to see. More details in our story and in their past published work that used similar methodology. I believe they have a lot more coming soon that will go even further into how they did it. Aren't all free products that make money off of your time designed to be addictive to maximize revenue and minimize expenses? You're definitely right that getting customers addicted to your product has been an effective business strategy since long before social media ever existed. But we're now starting to realize the extent of the effects of that addiction. Social media is, social. So it's not surprising that these platforms, once they became so massive, might have a broader effect on society, on relationships, and social norms, and political views. When we report on social media, we think a lot about something that Nigel Shadbolt, a pioneering AI researcher, said in a talk once, that every important technology changes humanity, and we don't know what those changes will be until they happen. Fire didn't just keep early humans warm, it increased the area of the world where they could survive and changed their diets, enabling profound changes in our bodies and societies. We don't know how social media and the hyperconnection of the modern world is changing us yet, but a lot of our reporting is us trying to figure that out. What's in your recommended videos? Mine is all volleyball and 90s concert videos. Ha! That sounds awesome. To be honest, after the last few months, it's mostly a mix of far-right Brazilian YouTube personality Nando Moura and Baby Shark videos. We'll let you guess which of those is from work versus from home use. Edit, Max double-checked and has also included this smoking hot performance of Birdland by the Buddy Rich Big Band. Credit to YouTube where due. What was the biggest challenge in your investigation? It was very important to us to speak with ordinary Brazilians, people who aren't politicians or online provocateurs, to learn how YouTube has affected them and their communities. But we're both based in London, and that kind of reporting is hard to do from a distance. We could get the big picture from data and research, and track which YouTubers were running for office and winning. But finding people who could give us the ground level version, winning their trust, especially tricky for this story because we had a camera crew in tow, and asking the right questions to get the information we needed, was hard. Luckily we had wonderful colleagues helping us, particularly our two fixers/translators, Mariana and Kate. We literally could not have done it without them. Will YouTube have this effect everywhere, or are these incidents random? Are there countries where the opposite have happened, algorithm linking to healthy things or promoting left-wing videos? YouTube and its algorithm seem to behave roughly the same everywhere, with the exception of certain protections they have rolled out in the US but haven't yet deployed elsewhere, such as the limits they recently placed on conspiracy theory content. But there are differences in how vulnerable different countries are to radicalization. Brazil was in a really vulnerable moment when right-wing YouTube took off there, because a massive corruption scandal had implicated dozens of politicians from both major parties. One former president is in jail, his successor was impeached. So there was tremendous desire for change. And YouTube is incredibly popular there, the audiences it reaches are huge. So it's not surprising that this happened in Brazil so quickly. But that doesn't mean it won't happen elsewhere, or isn't already. Just that it might not be so soon, or so noticeable.